Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's June 22nd, 2023, and we just had dinner. I'm a little postprandial, but what I thought I'd do is take a walk out here and take a walk through our first food forest. So I'm going to start walking now, and we'll take a look at a few trees and show you some of the things that I haven't done, I've neglected, and the challenges associated with that, and some of the things, how things are progressing here in the first food forest. Now we have 3 different food forests, none of which have I really worked in very much over the last couple of years. None in our first food forest except for digging up the blueberry plants that we transplanted last fall. So we'll walk out here now, and we'll look at a couple of apple trees here that are just a couple of years old. Now I need to pull all of our protective fencing away from some of these apples here. So this is one of our Honeycrisp apples, and I'm no longer doing pruning the way I used to do it. And if you go back several years, I do modified central leaders with the app trees, and do a vase or an open center shape with the with our stone fruits and our plums, our peaches, our apricots, all of those. But I'm no longer doing that. I'm trying to go back to more of a natural way. It seems to be better with the deer because the wildlife are in here all the time. Now when the raccoons climb up in them, or when the deer pull the limbs down, and I'll probably show you a couple of examples of those things, there is damage, and if I get to them right away, it's not a big deal. So this is one of our Honeycrisp right here. This is our Illinois mulberry tree. This one's had several issues over the years. This one was blown over in a storm probably about 4 years ago, and then another storm took off big trunks of the tree, and so you can probably see here the old injury. But this produces like crazy, and the only problem is the birds get to it before we do. You may be able to see some of the berries here, and these produce for such a long period of time, and they're delicious long berries. And I have one more of these right over there, which I'll get to in a moment, but I'll try and stay on this side of the access road right now. Here is another Honeycrisp apple here. I haven't done the pruning. Here's an example where the deer have pulled off one of the limbs. Not pulled it off, and actually pulled it over some with our strong winds. So they get on it and they pull on these, and you can see they damage the limbs. And I need to prune this. These are too tight in here. You can see some of the fruit. Hopefully you can see some of the fruit in here as well. But there's not enough open space in there, not enough airflow. But I need to prune that, and I need to help support this tree so that it doesn't go any further. Here is one of our hardy kiwis. This was from a cutting from our big hardy kiwis that we had before. This is a female, starting to produce some of the fruit on it now. The birds seem to get to this before we do, but that's okay. This is one of our cherry trees here. I haven't had as much luck with our cherry trees. They are very susceptible to the fungal brown rot disease. And the birds get to the cherries long before I do. And of course I should mention, like there's Bach 14 comfrey down here. We have horseradish. I ran over that with a mower today. And we have garlic in here, chives, different ground covers, columbine and all. Here's another Illinois mulberry here. This is the one that I did a hardwood cutting from, the other one. Now I used to, and I just pulled the protective gate off, but I used to prune off all these lower limbs and all, and they're more susceptible to deer rub in the fall months when I do that. So I'm going to leave some lower limbs, and you'll see some of that in a moment. Here's more of those beautiful mulberries starting to develop here. These are really fast growers. We get fruit pretty early on it. There's another cherry tree here. Really nice, does a good job. And again, not a huge fan of the cherries now. I mean, I love the cherry fruit. They're really fantastic, but they are really susceptible to fungal disease. Here's a different cultivar here of the cherries. And over in the sides there, we got elderberry plants. We have licorice and other fruits, and all along the margins over here. But here's another cherry tree here. And this one's doing okay. Another apple here. Now this is one, the technique I'm using now, I'm not pruning them back down low and putting larger cages on them initially. And this really does help with the deer browse. They'll get their antlers caught up in these limbs that are lower ones. Yeah, it's a little bit more of a pain in the butt, but by keeping them a little bit more natural, they seem to do better. Now this one does need to be thinned some, and I'm talking about the vegetative growth needs to be thinned. This was another Illinois mulberry that didn't make it. We'll stay on this side of the roadway first before we get to the main part, the two main parts of the area. This is, I've shown me pruning these ones before. So this is one of our, I'm going to call this a Red Delicious. It's one of the very similar to a Red Delicious apple. I have two of these that are very, very similar. And you can see this is a rapid grower as far as vegetative growth. And I haven't maintained it. I am letting the lower limbs come out now. And this does help protect these buggers, I believe anyways. Here's one of our pawpaws. And we'll see if we get some fruit from this one this year. What is this one here? This is one of our pears here. I'm not sure which pear this one actually is right now. Honey locust here. Another apple inside of this cage here. Another pear over there. Aronia berries here. Down below, we got lemon balm over there. Oregano here. Another apple here. And again, this is a new technique, so I'm going to remove the cage. I should have removed it already before it leafed out. I'm behind, as usual. Another aronia berry here. Another pawpaw here. Trying to keep your pawpaws, different varieties in relatively close proximity to each other for cross-pollination. I've talked about that before. Another aronia berry here. Another one there. And here again, some more oregano down here. Lemon balm right there. And this is another one of the Red Delicious type apples here. And this is one of our McIntosh cross ones. I really love this, the fruit from this tree. Really super delicious. Really make beautiful apples as well. And again, this is June, and I should be thinning this fruit, June 22nd. I should be pruning these trees better. I'm neglecting them. I should be thinning the fruit to maximize the size of the fruit and all. Now I'll go back over to this side of the driveway now. And over in here, I don't have mostly maples. These are some sugar maples, some red maples, lots of oak trees over in here. Here's another cultivar that's related to the McIntosh. I can't remember. This one may actually be a true McIntosh, which I absolutely love. This is another one that's a different cultivar of the McIntosh. This is one of the ones that actually helped me to see the difference. So this is as old as all of the apples that I have on the site, even though it's not that big. And I initially started pruning back some of these lower branches. The deer keep them pruned for me, keeps them active. And there's a bad side to it as well. I guess I'll walk down here some. So we have black currants here. Inside of here, all the mugwort around it, that looks like a peach. I believe that's a peach tree right there. A pawpaw right in here. Some of the high bush blueberry bushes here. Blackcurrant, semi-dwarf apple here. Another semi-dwarf. No. So I got a honey locust right next to it. What is this one here? Bear with me 1 second. This is a plum tree, a semi-dwarf plum. Another apple, a honey locust. Another apple there. This is a peach, a blushing star peach. Blushing star peach up here. These ones are susceptible to the brown rot. Black currants here. I haven't pruned these guys. These guys really need it. Black currants in here. Another apple, a plum. I really love this plum. Delicious plums, but it's taken a beating over the years. Now we're getting into the red currants down in here. These are all red currants. Another apple here. Another blushing star peach here. All red currants in here. Another peach. Another peach. This one gets the leaf curl, this peach does, but it does produce some okay fruit. These are all stone-free peaches here. Who is this guy here? I should have brought my glasses out. So this is an apricot cross here. I'm just going to go just so far and then head back in a minute. Some oaks over in here and maples. This is a pear tree here, just starting to produce it. That may be a Bartlett. Another apple. This is a Russian mulberry here, and I've got several Russian mulberries around. Staghorn sumac, another apple here. Another apple here. A cherry that didn't make it here. Another pear. This may be the Kiefer pear. A ginkgo. Let me see, what apple is this one? I can't remember which apple this is. Apple here. And down below in here, besides the comfrey and all of that, we have some high bush cranberry bushes that are down here low. Another honey locust here. Another apple tree here. Can't remember the variety of this one. And another apple here. And we'll get over, if we get time, we'll go over into the almond forest over here in a little while. I need to do a lot of work over there. Which apple is this one? This is one of the red delicious varieties here. Some of our Asian pears. Man, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I love Asian pears. A white birch here. This is one of our persimmons that didn't make it. It's another apple here. I'll try and come through these areas. Another apple, and this is just a small portion of all our apples that we've got. In here, inside of this cage, is one of the high bush cranberry bushes there. Is another apple here. All different cultivars. We've got another apple here. This apple is really prolific. This one here is. And of course, a deer pruned this one like crazy. This one I've had for years, and it produces so many beautiful, big, green, delicious apples. Man, that's fantastic. This is a Canadian hemlock right here by the honey hut. Honey locust, high bush blueberry with dogwood in there. Another ginkgo, another high bush blueberry bush here. These are all pretty big buggers. My brother Jim wants to see something with the bees. So right now we have 2 hives. I got lots of bushes in front of this hive here. So this is the one that survived over the winter months. One caught my hair. Another hive here that was a swarm that moved in recently. And this is one of our really sweet apples right here. Absolutely delicious. Man, this is one of my favorite ones, and I don't thin it enough, and I need to thin this tree. The ginkgo I mentioned, 2 more high bush blueberries. This is one of our magnolia trees here. Really love this tree an awful lot. What do we have here? Here's another apple, another peach, a honey locust, another apple. This one produces pretty darn nice apples as well. And when I talk about they all produce great apples. Not all of them. In the second food forest and the third forest, I experimented out, and they aren't the most delicious apples. This is another good apple. But when I'm talking about really delicious apples, I'm talking about when I'm going through here, I'm always grabbing fruit off the trees, which really makes a big difference. Another peach tree here. Really delicious peaches. This is up close looking at one of the high bush native blueberry bushes here to see the height, and dogwood here. Another Canadian hemlock. Canadian hemlock. Excuse me. Another apple here that's too close and underneath this Canadian hemlock here. So I wanted to transplant that one this spring, but I didn't get around to it. Hosta berries, we grow lots and lots of hosta berry plants, and man, they are delicious, but the wildlife love them as well. This tree didn't make it. I can't remember what was here, tell you the truth. This is another one of our really super delicious and prolific, every year produces tremendous green apples. Man, this thing is just fantastic. And it should be thinned, the fruit should be thinned. It gets so heavy, and the deer pull the branches down. Every year we lose some of the branches with it. So I've got to do pruning, and there's suckers that are coming up I haven't taken care of. I'm a bad man. Another cherry tree here. Should we go down further down there? Another peach tree here. Another cherry here. I'm sorry, this is one of our plums. This is a delicious plum right here. Really, really nice plums. Who is this guy? So this is an apricot plum cross. Doesn't really produce much fruit. Another white birch here. This apple is fantastic, produces tremendous number of apples, really delicious. All right, who is this guy here? This is another one of our apricot plum crosses here. Another apple tree here. This one, it'll take a season off about every 3 years, I'd say. This apple tree here, absolutely fantastic fruit from this one. This is another one of our pluots, and this is probably where a lot of our problems. So we got the brown rot coming in. I probably need to take this tree out. It's a shame, but it's a nidus for infection with the rest of the trees. One of our berry bushes, I can't remember what this is. Right in here, underneath this mess in here, is another pawpaw in here, and I got the cleavers in there, which are a real pain in the fanny. Another great apple tree here. Really productive. This apple tree is lots and lots of fruit. It's an ash tree that took over in the spot where I had one of the fruit trees. This is another cross, apricot plum cross here. Doesn't produce much fruit. They're just more susceptible to disease. This is one of our pawpaws here. This is a sunburst, I think. This is one of the ones we get some of our root cuttings from. Another peach tree. And again, the deer will grab these limbs and just yank them right down. A red bud. Boy, Now, I love red buds, and they're known for their nitrogen fixing capabilities and all, and that really is questionable, just like the honey locust as far as nitrogen fixing. Do they improve the soil? Absolutely. But our red buds, I'll tell you, they can't take the winds, and they really can't take the extreme cold that we get at times. At least the red buds that we've had here. Now, there are many different cultivars of red buds, but this one just doesn't handle it very well at all. So they snap off on us all the time. Who is this one right here? You gotta look at the label. And it's so beat up. Oh, this is one of our persimmons, sorry. So this is probably one of our male persimmons. Some of our Asian pears right in here. A few different varieties of Asian pears. I've made videos on those. They're absolutely, man, I love the Asian pears. Another apple, orange quince right here. Another young orange quince. I did this one from a hardwood cutting. Another orange quince here. There's a basswood, big basswood behind it. Another Asian pear here. Another Asian pear here. Now the fruit are small. Now they're much bigger than this when I go to harvest them. And I've made videos about them. This is one of our Asian pears that didn't make it. And I have to clean that out. Another apple here. A persimmons here that's being dwarfed by the huge honey locust. And our tulips in this area. And let's go, did I go down that? Yeah, I went down that aisle, so I'll come down here. Crimson maple, sassafras. This is one of the sassafras I transplanted a couple years ago. Honey locust, tulip, that's a variegated tulip. Honey locust, persimmons there. All around the pond, I've been around those trees there before. The sitting area I haven't sat in a couple of years now. So what do we have here? This is, now I see we've got another ash tree right here. Another apple tree, another honey locust, one of our Japanese red maples there. Another pawpaw here. This one isn't completely engulfed by the cleavers yet, but here's a pawpaw here. So there's two pawpaws within close proximity, and there's two pawpaws right there. Now this is a trellis that I put up a few years ago, and it has these beautiful red trumpet, it's trumpet vine with beautiful red trumpet flowers. And they're absolutely gorgeous, but I think I'm going to take this down because we got the multiflora rose in here, an invasive species, and it just shreds me when I drive by here and try to work here. Let's see. We've got another apple here. I don't remember this one right now. Another apple, a red magnolia, flowering pear. This cherry here is a bit dwarfed by the big flowering, bit larger trees. Honey locust, this is one of our golden honey locusts there. Another apple here, another flowering pear, another cherry here, an apple, yes, an apple, and another, what the heck is this? Taking a bit of a beating here. It's not setting any fruit. This is one of our plums. That's a Russian mulberry there. Another sassafras, a couple of big maples in here, and that's over where the Illinois mulberry is. So we'll walk down to the almond area there. This is all part of the first food forest. At least I'm covering most of what's in the food forest here. So a lot of our plums haven't done as well. Now I've done those in the second and third food forest. And I've been experimenting with the peach trees and different apple varieties in the second and mostly the third food forest, changing some of the peach varieties that we're growing here from the seed. And they're doing pretty well. So this is one of the crab apples, sorry. You can see I haven't got pruning these darn things. I'm a bit embarrassed by my lack of working in these areas and trying to maintain them better. But it takes me at least 3 half days to mow what needs to be mowed around these areas, and my goal is to reduce as much lawn as possible. And of course, this is another, although this is a basswood or a linden, the flowers on this are edible. And of course, it's all of these deciduous trees are really good for their taking some of those really fine particles, like with all the fires that we have nowadays, the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, the PM2s, PM2.5s, they adhere to the lipids on the surface of these trees, and when the leaves fall in the fall, the fungi break it down, and that's really good. So there's another linden, really nice papers, and there's pond 5 over there. And I'll try and do an update on the pond ceiling because I've gotten questions about that, but I don't want to get into that right now. So these are some of our hardy almond trees. So this is probably 4 or 5 years old now. So like this one's about 4 years old. This one's probably 5. Those are 6. Some of these are like 8 years old, and I need to get the cages out of here because the winds blow these and they do damage to them. And then in between, we have the high bush. So we have the Bach 14 comfrey here. We have the high bush blueberries here. We have some opportunistic trees coming up. So you can see there's an almond here, an almond here, an almond here, blueberries. This is another almond here. There's an apple. 1, 2, 3 more almonds in this row. Another big blueberry here. One of our largest almonds. And I've done videos with the larger almonds coming in and getting those. Another blueberry here. Another almond tree here. Of course, the almonds are really related to the peaches. This is another Russian mulberry here. Oh, a pawpaw here. Hopefully I'm moving the camera so you can see. Pawpaw here. Several pawpaws in this area. Another high bush blueberry. Another small pawpaw here. Really, this one here is probably 9 foot, close to 10 foot tall high bush blueberry plant here. It's about its max size. Another almond here. Almond here. Blueberry bushes in between. And an apple tree here. Another blueberry. And then, let's see what else. Some of our tigers. More blueberry bushes. An apple tree. An oak tree. An almond with grapevine climbing up it. We have a few more almonds over in this area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more almonds here, and blueberries that are all under the mugwort here. So, man, am I ever behind here getting things done. And this is just the first food forest. Down along, sorry about that, down along the swale, there's a couple more apples down there as well. But that's about the tour of our first food forest, at least the highlights. So there's really like one side of one roadway, the other side of the roadway, and then on the other side of the swale here is where the almonds are and the honey hut in about the center of the area as well. So given that we're doing so little and I'm so far behind, as far as pruning, and I haven't done any thinning, lots of neglect. Some of it's benign neglect and it's turned out just fine. I've changed my approach to pruning. I'll try to make a video about it probably next year. I'm just so far behind this year, and I have a whole bunch of varieties, a whole list of videos that I want to make. Everything from the braking system, the shifting system on our RTV, to the pond ceilings, to the other food forest, and some of the pruning techniques, and the list goes on. And some of the wildlife down at the ponds, because there's lots of things going on down there. And of course, some of the work I'm doing over at Base Camp on the new property as well. So this video is getting way too long. I really appreciate everybody's viewing. I thought I'd try and come out here real quick during my postprandial time and take a walk through the first food forest. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. We really like hearing from you folks. And if you've started growing fruit and nut trees on your property, please leave some details about it down below. Your location where you are, what you're growing, the types of varieties you're growing, and how well it's working out for you. I think that's always helpful to everybody who's coming to the channel and watching these videos. Thanks so much for watching. Have a super fantastic and safe day. Bye-bye now.